So today, we are making a dish featuring zucchini, aka courgette, that hails from the south of Spain and is truly one of Spain's best kept recipes. We're talking calabacin a la Andaluza. Now, I remember the first time I made this dish, it seriously impressed me because it had so many great textures and flavors to it. And it was so easy to make, folks. You can serve this as a side dish, next to some grilled fish and roasted potatoes, or even for breakfast next to some fried eggs. Either way, this is a very unknown recipe from the region of Andalusia, but a dish that everyone needs to know about because it is that good. Let's begin by filling a stock pot with some cold water. You want to go to a little over the halfway point. Then we'll season generously with sea salt and heat it with a high heat. While the water is heating, let's start getting our ingredients ready. I'm going to cut 2 medium-sized zucchinis. These have already been washed and patted dry, each one into rounds that are 1 centimeter thick, which is between 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick. The secret here, make sure they're all the same thickness, that way they all evenly cook. Then I'm going to finely dice 1 small onion and roughly chop 4 cloves of garlic. And for the last ingredient, I'm going to finely grate between 4 to 5 fresh tomatoes to end up with 1½ cups of fresh tomato sauce, which is about 340 grams. Of course, you can also use canned tomato sauce here or even passata, but by finely grating fresh tomatoes, it really gives this dish that authentic Spanish touch. Alright, let's move back to the stock pot. As you can see, the water has came to a full boil, so at this point, I'm going to add in the zucchini rounds into the stock pot. And we're just going to lightly cook the zucchini rounds between 4 to 5 minutes. We want them cooked al dente. You don't want to overcook them, otherwise they can easily get mushy. After about 4 to 5 minutes, these zucchini rounds should be perfectly cooked al dente. You know, you can always pierce them with a toothpick, and if it easily goes in there, but with some resistance, they are ready to go. Once again, you don't want to overcook them. I'm going to start removing them from the stock pot and transferring them into a wire rack with some paper towels underneath, making sure they're all in a single layer is the best that you can. And we're going to leave our zucchini rounds to sit here, that way they can slightly cool off. And as for the water that we just used to cook that zucchini, do not toss it. You can use it to make rice dishes or even stews, and it's going to give your dish a beautiful flavor. For the next step, I'm going to heat a large fry pan with a medium heat and add in about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which is 30 milliliters. After heating the olive oil for about 2 minutes, I'm going to add in the diced onion and the chopped garlic. And we'll mix the ingredients around, that way they're all evenly coated in that olive oil. And as you know, I always like to mix this continuously, that way everything evenly sautés. After about 3 minutes, and the onions are nice and translucent, and the garlic is lightly sautéed, you don't want to brown these ingredients too much. I'm going to add in the 1½ cups of tomato sauce, which once again is 400 grams. 2 tablespoons of finely chopped fresh parsley, which is 8 grams. If you don't have fresh parsley, you can substitute it for about 1/3 the amount of dried parsley. And we'll season everything with sea salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. No need to add sugar here to cut the acid from the tomatoes. We're using fresh tomatoes, so they have a sweeter flavor to them. If you're using canned tomato sauce, just add a little pinch of white sugar in there. And we'll give this a quick mix, that way all the ingredients are evenly mixed together, and then we're going to simmer it on a medium heat, that way all the flavors can come together and that tomato sauce can thicken up. While our tomato sauce is simmering, let's move back to our zucchini rounds. I'm going to transfer them over some paper towels, making sure they're all in a single layer. And then we'll gently pat them completely dry. Now this is a very important step in this recipe. You want to remove all that water content from the zucchini, that way later on when we cook all the dish together, it doesn't get soggy. Then I'm going to grease a casserole dish with 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, which is 15 milliliters, and brush it all over the bottom surface. The size of this casserole dish is 12 inches by 9 inches, which is about 30 centimeters by 22 centimeters. Then we'll add in the zucchini rounds into the casserole dish, making sure they're all in a single layer. And if you have a couple extra ones, just place them over the first layer. And we'll season the zucchini with freshly cracked black pepper. No need to add salt here, as we already cooked those zucchini rounds in salted water. Alright, let's move back to the tomato sauce. It's been simmering for about 10 minutes, and as you can see, it's really thickened up, and all the flavors have developed. I'm going to remove it from the heat And we'll evenly spread the tomato sauce over the zucchini rounds, making sure it's covering the entire top surface. Then I'm going to measure out half a cup of breadcrumbs, which is 60 grams. To make this recipe gluten-free, you can just use gluten-free breadcrumbs. Add in a generous half teaspoon of dried oregano, which is a little over half a gram, and a kiss of sea salt. And we'll give it a quick mix, that way everything's evenly mixed together. Then we'll evenly spread the breadcrumb mixture into the casserole dish, once again making sure it's covering the entire top surface. And we'll drizzle it with a kiss of extra virgin olive oil. And for the final step, we're going to add in our casserole dish into a preheated oven, bake and broil option, that's the bottom and top heat, 220 degrees Celsius, which is about 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and leave it in there between 15 to 20 minutes or until that breadcrumb mixture has a beautiful golden baked color to it. Now if your oven can do both functions at the same time, no big deal, just bake it until that mixture is nice and golden baked on top. After about 20 minutes, this dish should be ready to go. I'm going to remove the casserole dish from the oven. And we'll sprinkle it with some finely chopped fresh parsley. Check it out, our Calabacin a la Andaluza is done, an Andalusian style Spanish zucchini dish from the south of Spain. Like I told you at the beginning, a very unknown recipe, but it's got so many great flavors to it. It's easy to make, and look at this beautiful presentation. Let's give it a try and see how it turned out. Now this is a dish I cannot wait to try. Look how beautiful this turned out. Here we go. Dang, that's good. Hard to believe that we use such simple ingredients to create something that good. As for the food here, the flavors and everything, the texture of the zucchini, right on the money. And then that tomato sauce with the breadcrumbs, taking it to the next level. You know, like I told you at the beginning, this is a very unknown recipe from the region of Andalusia. Give this a try at home and I promise it's not going to disappoint because it is that good. Really quick before I go, a shout out to a couple of my patrons, David Houston, Bert and Melissa Del Rio, Britt Saunders, Tandy Irvin, Paul Whitfield, and Debbie Lee. Once again, guys, thank you so much for being patrons of Spain on a Fork. You know how much I appreciate you. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, leave me a comment below, and don't forget to share this video with your family and friends. That way our Spain on a Fork community can continue to grow. Till the next time, hasta luego. Viva España, Viva Andalucía. Incredible dish, and again, very unknown. In fact, most people outside of Andalusia have never even heard of this dish here in Spain. If you're a zucchini lover like me, give this a try. You will not believe how good it is. See you next video. Love y'all.